Before we get started, all four of these decks are available to play on Steam Workshop in the link in the description right now. Keep in mind that all four are still being tweaked and adjusted, so in this time, we would greatly appreciate any feedback you have for balancing or just constructive criticism in general. That can be directed to us via Steam, or if you just want to join our Discord community, we'd love to have you, and the link is also in the description for that. Enjoy the video.
The villain I chose for this deck is Mr. House from Obsidian Entertainment's Fallout New Vegas. Mr. House's primary objective is to secure the Platinum Chip and activate the Securitrons to control New Vegas. How you go about this is searching through the Fate deck, which will be elaborated on later, to find either the Platinum Chip or Benny. After vanquishing Benny, the Platinum Chip will be placed on top of Fortification Hill, and activating the Platinum Chip once on top of Fortification Hill, and then moving to the Strip and activating it there, will win you the game. Searching your Fate deck for Benny will place him at the top of Fortification Hill, unlocking that area for use from the player. After vanquishing him, you will search the Fate deck or discard for the Platinum Chip. Paying 7 power and the activation cost, you will move the Platinum Chip from the top of Fortification Hill to the bottom of the Strip. Activating it at the bottom of the Strip will win you the game. To accomplish this goal, you're going to want to Fate yourself as much as possible. Through the innate ability from the Courier that whenever you move the Villain Mover, this card follows it, and every time this card moves, you flip your own Fate card over. Makes it so that you can dig through your Fate deck fairly quickly. There is, as with most Fate decks, there is not very many good outcomes for what you can flip over. Benny and the Platinum Chip are frankly the only good ones, and in fact there's a card among other cards in there that drastically slow you down. Since Fate decks are smaller, making it harder to dig through your Fate deck and slowing you down at the beginning of the game was necessary to keep it fair. You'll want to collect as much power as possible in the beginning of the game while searching around for Benny or the Platinum Chip in your Fate deck. Obviously, flipping over things in the Fate deck won't help you any, but it always gets you that one step closer to finding Benny or the Platinum Chip. So taking the negatives while searching for your win cons is all part of how it works. What can make it easier, however, is the companion mechanic. Companions count as allies for the use of card abilities, but in this deck, they function similarly to allies, but in a different way. There's 8 different allies, all of which have separate abilities. There are cards in your villain deck that help you search for different companions to make things easier. The companions, as seen here, function differently from allies in the fact that you can only have one, or in some special circumstances, 2 at a time. And when they are not in play, they are placed underneath of the board, just in this general location, in the companion zone. The special rules for the companion zone are that at the beginning of your turn before movement, you may swap out a companion that is attached to the Courier for one that is in the companion zone. The special rules for how companions and other things get vanquished are listed on the card here. Speaking of vanquishing, it is important to note that the Courier, even if used in vanquish actions, cannot ever be removed from the realm. The main card that will help you get to the goal from your villain deck, but outside of just moving the Courier and flipping over Fate cards, is They Went That Way. There's only one copy of the card in the deck because of how strong it is. But essentially it lets you fix your Fate deck to find Benny within 3 turns if you're just moving on your own, but if you get fated or have any other extra effects, you can get there faster. The side quest cards do get in the way of this card, so you do have to wait until after turn 4, essentially, to be able to play this card. So, like I said at the beginning, slowing this deck down is the key to making it viable and on the similar playing field as other decks you may play against, because without it, it would just move way too fast. Side quests are another special mechanic where it is another way to slow down digging through your Fate deck. At the beginning of the game, you will separate the side quest cards in the Fate deck from the rest of the Fate deck, and shuffle both of them independently of one another. You will then place the side quest cards on top, the shuffled side quest cards on top of the shuffled regular Fate deck, and then play the game as normal. If at any point before all side quest cards are flipped over, that you have to shuffle your Fate deck, you have to separate them individually again and shuffle them independently of one another. Side quests must be played before the main Fate deck can be accessed. As I said before, gathering power throughout the game is necessary to being able to function in the endgame. Although there aren't a lot of cards in your villain deck that cost a lot of power, activating the Platinum Chip and using up all the resources to be able to get there will cost a lot of power. There's not a lot on the board, so accumulating that over time and making sure you only use it when absolutely necessary is really helpful for making this deck work. Another neat little combo is that in the Fate deck, there are a lot of cards that make it impossible for you to activate the Platinum Chip or vanquish Benny until they are dealt with. Moving one space at a time, it makes this kind of difficult, so a nice way to do this is to have Cass as a companion, searching for her and then being able to move to different squares, although she's helpful throughout the rest of the game as well. Near the end game, being able to move quickly to different locations to vanquish the rangers or assassins that are in the way of you activating the Platinum Chip. Cass makes that a lot easier. Boone is also a very important companion when it comes to this, allowing you to vanquish enemies within adjacent squares rather than needing to be on that square specifically, makes it extra easy to not have to worry about needing to move to the specific locations to deal with the enemies. Although the other companions definitely have their ups and downs. For example, Arcade Ganon is very good in the end game, as he makes the cost of the Platinum Chip go down. So if you have an open board, swapping out for Arcade Ganon is never a bad idea. Vanquishing heroes, Lily's great, but for the main end game tips and tricks, Boone and Cass are probably your best options.